in Philippine politics.
Yes.
Within the traditional context.
Okay.
The two other people is Rojas, Senator Rojas, and Vice President Binay.
Okay.
And the rest, I was talking about the presidential candidates from Gibo, President Pinoy, and Villar. I thought Villar was the more attractive candidate among all of them because of his achievements.
Yes.
Poor boy from Tondo,
Self-made
graduated
man.
from UP, and then married a very rich girl, built a terrific empire in terms of billions,
Yes.
became Speaker of the House,
Senate
became President of the
yes.
Senate, and I thought he was the most qualified among all of them.
Really? So in this book, you actually mentioned that Senator Villar
I
was the most qualified among all the presidentiables last May.
Of course, and strangely enough, I don't like you to ask me this question as who among them whom I thought was least qualified.
Well, we'll reserve that for people's imaginations. Okay.
I suppose so.
Sir. But sir, it's amazing. It's interesting because the book is presidentiables and emerging upheavals. Why do you say emerging upheavals?
Emerging upheavals because I think that dependent on what will develop during the election, after the election,
yes,
we can expect upheavals in the Philippines.
Regardless of who,
Regardless
of
as to
got
who
elected.
will become president.
Okay.
Because in the nature of things, the Philippines has not changed from one president to another. There's got to be important changes.
Yes.
Because in the words of President
Institutional changes.
Yes, institutional, basic institutional changes. In the words of President Kennedy in his inaugural speech,
Yes.
I remember this line very well. If a free society cannot help the many who are poor, it cannot save the few who are rich.
Very well said.
And Kennedy
JFK.
was a very rich man, no?
Yes.
One of the Brahmins in Boston and in
Of course,
Massachusetts.
of course. Joe Kennedy's empire.
Yeah, Joe Kennedy's empire, but striking contrast from Joe, no?
Yes.
Bobby and John F. Kennedy.
Yes. Okay. Now, the other book you have here is, again, Leaders from Marcos to Arroyo.
It's my encounters with the different presidents because, modesty aside, I've walked through the corridors of power and I've stayed for some minutes in the bedrooms of power.
Yes.
So my conversations with different presidents from Marcos to Arroyo and my evaluation of how good they were, no? How good they are. And it's very interesting because many of the incidents mentioned in this book involve only me and the different presidents.
So it's really an intimate account
Yes.
of your experiences with, as you said, in the corridors of power.
And I believe that it's in unguarded moments that presidents, or any individual for that matter, reveal themselves.
Yeah.
And in this book, through my remembering, they have revealed themselves to me. And I wanted the people to know whether the revelations produced the same impressions as I had.
Very interesting read, sir. Now, your latest book is Ideas, Principles, and Lost Opportunities. Now, I see a very youthful attorney Humabona Daza here. You must have been 30 or something in this photo.
No, that was taken 2 weeks before publication. But with a lot of photoshopping. So
because,
I was telling them, it was not taken years back.
It's a miracle. It looks like they removed 40 years from
I
your
know,
face.
because the one who did the cover has been the person who's been doing the cover of my books. And he does it quite well.
Yes, yes.
I was about to protest when I saw the young man on the cover of this book. I said, I'm a little older than the young man. Maybe
People are going to think it's your son. Yes, sir.
Right.
Now, why is it called Ideas, Principles, and Lost Opportunities?
Well, it's about my ideas and principles which brought about the loss of opportunities for me and the country. More important is the loss of opportunities for the country, because if I made the correct decisions at that point in time, maybe the country would have changed.
Yes, yes.
The story of the country would have been different. But I committed mistakes because at that particular time, more important to me were my ideas and principles instead of the opportunities for the country. You know, I've learned that you have to have tactical arrangements in politics.
Yes, sir.
I was not capable of tactical arrangements because I was always thinking of the strategic objectives. and I could not sacrifice its strategic objectives for tactical arrangements. But I think younger people should learn from my experience.
Yes, and that's something that I hope our viewers will
I
glean from their encounters with you through shows like this.
Yes,
Yes,
I
sir.
hope that when they encounter similar opportunities in the future, they should not sacrifice the national interest simply because of reputation or pride.
Yes.
And that's what happened with
Yeah.
me. Maybe I was a creature of pride, a creature concerned with reputation. I mistook reputation for integrity,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
which was, but nothing is ever late.
Yes, sir.
Nothing is ever late.
And finally, we have a book which is a nicely colored book, very yellow. Beginning, Hope, and Change, Impressions on President Noy Aquino in his first 100 days in office.
I tried to analyze President Aquino based on his very strategic moves during the first 100 days. And I haven't changed my impression.
What is your take? What is your analysis of this administration?
Well, if this administration does not change gear between now and the end of its term, I don't think this administration will finish its term.
What do you mean by change gear, sir?
Meaning, he should rewrite definite objectives for the country. For instance, he keeps on talking about the straight road, but there are so many incompetent people in his government. He should not have appointed these incompetent people. They're still there.
Yeah.
And there are some of them who are corrupt.
Yeah.
Contrary to the impression of so many people that there is no corruption in this government. We should distinguish between graft and corruption. Graft is taking money from the government. That's graft. Corruption meaning not
Failure
working.
of leadership.
No, not working
Yes.
in accordance with legal, constitutional, moral, and ethical rules. And I think even the president is guilty
Yes.
of corruption in that sense.
In that sense.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Now, I mean, in terms of the style of this administration, it's the style of management, the style of its leadership. How would you rate it?
Very bad style of management. In a scale of 1 to 10, I'd put it at 3.
3.
3, yes.
Have you ever rated another administration this way, this low before in
No,
the
no,
past?
no.
And you've been around for, I said, you've seen
Not
them. You've seen a great deal of modern Philippine history.
Yes.
And
Maybe comparison to his mother.
how would you rate the first Aquino administration?
Maybe about 4.
So a little better.
A
The first
little
one was
better than
better
this one, yes.
Okay.
As I was saying in my book, Presidentiables and Emerging Upheavals, the presidency of Cory was already a calamity. Electing President Noy would be a catastrophe. I have not changed my impression
Until now.
until today.
With everything you've seen. Now, let's talk about recent developments. I said in my opening spiel that the last few weeks and months have seen some very interesting times for all of us. And let's focus on the most interesting event these last 2-3 weeks, which is the arrest of the former president and now Pampanga Representative Gloria Arroyo. What is your take on this, sir?
I think
How do you view the entire situation?
the entire
yes.
situation is the president has committed tremendous mistakes. First, when the Supreme Court issued a TRO and in effect allowed the former President Gloria Arroyo to leave the country, they should have allowed her to leave the country because they don't have any proof.
Let's explain first to the audience that the TRO was on what exactly? Because as I understand, there was no whole departure order issued by the court. None.
The TRO from the Supreme Court is to stop the government from allowing Gloria to leave the country. That's the nature of the TRO.
Yes.
And they should have allowed her to leave.
No, but there was no whole departure order to begin with that prevented the former President Roy to leave.
There's no whole departure order.
Just for the sake of, for our viewers, let's explain. Who issues the whole departure order?
Normally, the one who issues the whole departure order is the court.
Okay.
Normally.
Okay.
When you have a case in court, the judge can issue a whole departure order and gives the order to immigration for implementation.
Okay.
But there are other cases where a whole departure order can be issued. It can be issued by the president.
Okay.
It can be issued by the Speaker of the House.
Okay.
It can be issued by the Senate President.
Okay.
Other than these people,